In the meantime, let's speak to Dr. Hannah White from the Institute for Government, who joins us from Westminster. Doctor, welcome to you. It's one thing for journalists, for the media, to run headlines along the lines of major constitutional crisis. It's quite another when those words come from the mouth of the Solicitor General, as they did yesterday. That's right, but I think that this is not really a crisis. The rule that the Speaker was reaffirming yesterday is a long-standing rule. He pointed to its historic origins. It was first articulated in 1604, but it's not a rule that he's dug up from 1604. It's a rule that's been in constant use since that point, and it shapes how the House of Commons handles its business. We're told not used since the 1920s. I mean, it's not in that regular use. It's not that it hasn't been used since the 1920s. The 1920s was the last time that a speaker made a statement about its use. It's been in active use ever since then, and the fact is that you can't see it happening because what it does is prevent government ministers or backbenchers from trying to ask a question again. So it stops things happening rather than being seen to make something happen, if you see what I mean. Yes, I do. I mean, if you are a lawyer in Whitehall today and you're thinking, what's the definition, what constitutes a substantial change to the bill, what's the order of change and modification that we're talking about? Well, I think in response to points of order that happened after he made his statement, the Speaker gave a bit of clarification about this. In response to Hilary Benn, the chair of the Brexit Select Committee, he said that just having different advice from the Attorney General, for example, wouldn't, in his view, constitute a significant change. He pointed to the difference between the first and the second meaningful votes, between which the Prime Minister had been back to the EU and renegotiated and come back with agreed documents with the EU, which she said strengthened the sort of legal guarantees around the Northern Ireland backstop. The government does have other options, doesn't it, we're told? The idea that they could effectively terminate this parliamentary session, restart a new one and then resubmit the withdrawal bill. How would that work? So they absolutely could do that. They could also do something much simpler, which is if they think there is a majority in the House who would like to take this decision again, they can put down a motion asking the House to say that on this occasion they want to disapply the rule, the convention, about not asking the same question twice. The House can always determine how it runs its own business, and if the government can get a majority, if it's right that there is a majority of MPs who would now vote for her deal, then probably there's a majority of MPs who would vote for the opportunity to vote for her deal. So, I mean, that's a simpler way to go about it. How tendentious is the Speaker being? I mean, he said before, controversially, that he wouldn't be bound by precedent, that he could start new precedents, and yet here he is falling back very much on precedent in the eyes of some people. Well, I think, House of Commons procedure is a complicated mixture of Speaker's rulings, past precedents, things that are written down in Erskine May and standing orders and so on. And I think the Speaker is trying to articulate the ones that he sees to be relevant to the Brexit process as it goes along. I mean, there's been some argument that it might have been helpful for him to articulate his view of this particular rule a little bit sooner so the government could understand how he was likely to rule on it. But it is absolutely his job to help the House by interpreting his view of how the rules apply. I suspect over the long sweep of history, the idea of the government having, I was going to say enjoying, having an antagonistic relationship with the Speaker is absolutely not new. Absolutely not new. But it is, in modern times, Speaker Bercow has been more enthusiastic about standing up for the rights of backbenchers and the rights of Parliament in relation to government. Our government in the Westminster Parliament has quite a lot of power and control over what Parliament can do, and more so than in other Westminster systems. So from his point of view, he's trying to redress the balance. Hannah White is with the Institute of Government.